Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's The Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
As an entrepreneur, you have to be okay with failure. If you're not failing, you're likely not pushing yourself hard enough. Alexa Von Tobel. Greetings, my peak performers. Welcome to episode 103 of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter. My guest today is Dr. Roshwanna Novellus, the founder and CEO of Enrich Her, which is a financial technology platform fueling the growth of women-led businesses. Enrich Her enables female founders to secure $30,000 to $70,000 of capital in an affordable way. Today, we're going to be talking about securing funding for women-owned startup businesses, the do's and the don'ts. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial You podcast, Dr. Novellus.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here on your show.
Absolutely. So we are going to be talking, as I mentioned, about, funding for women-owned startups. But before I get into that, do you know anything about Jamaican culture?
A little bit. My best friend is from Jamaica, so I often spend time, at his house doing the meals and, just spending time with the whole family, because the Jamaican culture is typically very family-oriented. So.
Yes, it is. You know what? I'm finding out that Jamaicans, that we make very good best friends, because every time I ask that question, I have, somebody telling me, well, not every time, but quite often somebody telling me, oh, my best friend is from Jamaica.
Yep.
Yeah, we make good best friends.
yes. We can count on you, and you're loyal, and
Yeah. We love people at our core. We are quite friendly, wonderful people. All right, let's get into the meat of the matter. So, is securing funding for startups any different for women than it is for men?
It is totally different for women than it is for men. And not in the way that you think. Clearly, you need to have the same plans for your money, the same financial statements and strategy, but you're not looked at in the same way as men by that decision maker. A lot of times that when people are deciding who to give funding to, they say, hey, I'm going to give funding to someone who reminds me of myself. And if that person, it doesn't happen to be a woman, sometimes it's hard for them to understand your business or your problem. So, for instance, one of my friends is the founder of Fimley Box, which is a company that creates organic tampons. And she pitched to a lot of male investors, and they just didn't understand why it was a problem to have chemicals in tampons, and they just couldn't get the market, even though clearly women across the world, use this product. So you have to kind of curtail your message to the audience in a way that a lot of our male counterparts don't have to.
So clearly then, our societal upbringing, for one, who we are naturally, biologically, or makeup, that has impact on whether or not we are funded, our business are funded. Interesting. So what are some of the factors you talked about? You gave that specific example, but as a woman that is seeking funding, you're having a startup, you're seeking funding, what are some of the main factors to consider before you even venture out and, start to pitch to investors?
Well, you need to consider if you have the right plan in place. So a lot of times they'll do additional due diligence on a woman-led company to make sure the team can carry out the mission or the use of the funds. There's a good product market fit. And these are things every company should do, but women especially need to make sure that all of their plans are together and that you have a pathway to make money. But with everyone, I think you should get money on your own terms. So even though a financial institution, a bank, or an investor might be looking for a particular strategy to use your money, you should feel comfortable with you in your own skin with your own business strategy before you approach anybody about funding your business.
I'm inclined to go back to the point you made earlier, that men, very often persons support the like me, that phenomena is very ripe in the decision making process, whatever it is. And you made mention of the fact that, more men, of course, are in that role. So they're looking at people, they're looking to fund startups, fund businesses that are more inclined and aligned to who they are. How pervasive is that phenomena, even outside of the gender issue? How pervasive is that, even woman to woman seeking, a woman startup seeking funding from another female woman-led business?
It's pervasive everywhere, and sometimes, unfortunately, women don't like to support one another. So there's that. I remember my first pitch competition, which was a competition focused on how can we help women have a more efficient life as easy as possible. So there were two of us who presented a solution that were one woman focused, and then there was someone who didn't present a solution that was woman focused, and that person actually was selected as the winner. And that was in part because the women judges didn't want to support any of the women who were pitching. And so sometimes you have to deal with that, but other times we're very, very supportive of one another. I have, and Richard has a lot of women investors. We have a lot of women on our team and mentors and advocates. So you can find those people. A lot of times you just have to focus on your why. Why are you doing this? Because you have to find those commonalities with different people. And that's true no matter what stage your business is and where you're located.
I definitely want to hear some more about, the Enricher initiative, and we're going to spend some time on that. But where are some of the places that we need to be looking for funding? Because it seemed to be, one of the most challenging things I hear, startups talk about, they can't seem to find an investor. I remember when I was a startup, it was that kind of a challenge as well. And we can't, especially if you are in the Caribbean region, it's a lot more challenging than perhaps in the US or other developed countries. So where are some of the places that perhaps we need to be looking to identify sources of funding for women-owned startups in particular?
Well, one way that I recommend is to apply to different pitch competitions, grants, and accelerator programs. And on the Enricher website, we have hundreds of them listed. So if anyone is looking for one of those. But a lot of times investors actually come based on PR and exposure. So if you're able to pitch in front of a room of, 100 people, there might be someone in that room that can help you out. So strategically, that has been really helpful, just being able to speak about your company and about your idea, whether it's in a pitch format or not. Also, I always recommend if you go to conferences, you research people who have an interest in your business area. And I'm speaking specifically about if you're looking for investment capital. And if they're at a conference near you, you can go to that conference and try to reach out to them, schedule some time to see if they are in alignment with you. But it's hard. There's not really a scientific process behind finding the perfect investors beyond doing research and really going after the numbers game.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, of course, we want to get a little specific now and talk about the things that are not supposed to be done, so what to do and what not to do. So let's talk about the don'ts first, and then before we go into the do's.
Yeah, don't send people all of the information about your company. It's easy to say, hey, here's my business plan, here's my pitch deck, here's my executive summary, here's all this information, and this person doesn't even know you. So that's not really an effective way to get anywhere, especially in this day and age when people don't like a lot of information. Also, don't show up at investor's job or be too annoying. You have to be kind of persistent, but investors have told me the entrepreneurs showed up, at dinner. They were stalking them on Instagram, the entrepreneurs, and showed up to find them in their, without an appointment. No one's going to give you any money or time if you are that kind of annoying. So you have to be
assertive without being pushy.
Yes, exactly. In terms of do's, be persistent. So one of the things that's worked well with me is that I send out an investor update email. So that email has, hey, here are the milestones that I've reached. Here's what's coming up on the horizon. Here's the latest press articles. And I send it to people who I think could be investors or partners or advocates. And over time, a lot of people on that list have said, hey, I'm ready to invest, or hey, I can help you now. So it's good to build that relationship with people before you need them, because you don't want your first ask is to give me money, right? But if people feel like, oh, I've known this person, I've been following them, and they're doing a great job, that's fantastic. Also, just keep asking until you say no, until someone says no to you. Well, you might have to pester for a while. The average time can be 2 to 3 months between getting that investor capital that you're looking for. So just know that it's not going to be just a cut and dry transaction all the time, and be okay with that. And I guess this is a don't. Don't take it personally, because a lot of times the investment decision is not about you at all. It's about them. And so you can't control what anyone else thinks about themselves, right? So just don't take it personal.
I think investors are driven pretty much by two factors, fear and greed. So fear that they're going to be losing their investment. Quite on the contrary, they are greedy. They, in fact, not in a negative term, but, greedy for wanting to get all they can out of their investment. So we have to, I guess in seeking funding, be able to appeal to those drivers, those driving forces.
Exactly.
And so you talked about, it can take a while. So intrinsic in what I'm hearing you saying is that it is about building relationships. So it's not about that first ask. You meet somebody, pretty much akin to a date, right? You wouldn't go meet somebody for the first time. Well, I guess normally you don't meet somebody for the first time, and you want to go and sleep with that person. No, you build a relationship until you get to that point. So it's pretty much like you're courting someone in a relationship.
Exactly.
All right. So I want to spend some time talking about your initiative, and because I know we can learn from what you have built, right? Talking about that and share what are some of the things that you do and how are you helping startups, and just some key factors in considering or wanting to secure investment.
The goal of Enricher is to help women get funding to grow their businesses. And we do that in a variety of ways. So we have a funding platform. So that's the primary way. So women can apply to receive between $30,000 and $70,000 each for their business. And that money is available by crowdfunding or direct loans. So definitely go check that out. In addition, we really believe that women love supportive ecosystems and communities, because we need that help and support to make it through. And so we have events in different cities that have successful entrepreneurs, investors, wishpreneur all together. People love them because sometimes it's just hard to be around like-minded people who are going through the same thing. And that's our Enrich Her Spark initiative. And the last piece is Enrich Her Academy. And those are all of our educational courses that include topics like how to become investor ready, how do you craft your pitch, how do you scale, how do you pick a team member, and all the Enrich Her Academy courses are available in our online community, Enrich Her Society. But the goal of all three of these parts of Enrich Her is really to give all women entrepreneurs everything they need to be successful. So we say, let us fund you, let us help you become successful, and let us train you. Like, let us serve you as a woman entrepreneur who wants to be in charge of her own economic footprint. And that's our mission and that's our cause.
And what are the particular industries that you focus, or do you tend to focus on any particular industry?
We focus on all industries because we believe that most of the focus is on high tech companies. And while tech companies are great, most women actually don't run tech companies. Most women have service businesses or product businesses. And so we've been able to get funding for those particular types of businesses. Our goal is just to remove the barriers. So we are industry agnostic. So if you need like an inventory loan, a product loan, cash flow loans, like we have all of those available on our platform. In terms of grant pitch competitions, we have offerings from fashion to healthcare to food, so we really try to be inclusive of different opportunities that women want to pursue.
And so what are the limitations? That sounds very interesting. What are the limitations, if any, in terms of location? Do you only cater to startups in the US, or it doesn't matter?
Right now, we are limited to companies in the US that have at least $25,000 in revenue. But we do plan to expand in the future, but that we're just starting in the U.S. because that's where I am.
And you have been doing this for how long?
I started this company about a year and a half ago, but I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 8 years. So I've been able to leverage my experience running a financial consulting company, a yoga company to help with this lending company. So I'm really excited about that.
Right. And so as an entrepreneur supporting startups, what have been your lessons learned in that? It's a little over a year that you've started. What have been some of the lessons that you have learned and that you can impart to our peak performers community?
That quote from the song, back then they didn't know me, but now they all own me. So people support ebbs and flows, right? So a lot of times people don't take you seriously when you're at the beginning, but once you show that you have success, you have work ethic, you have grit, then a lot of times the support comes. So again, don't really take that personally. People, that's really the main thing. I've had team members leave and then come back, and now so many people want to work with me, and I'm like, I'm the same person. Like, what's different now? So just the main thing is really not to take anything personally and really just follow your intuition and make sure you take time for self-care in the pursuit of your dreams. Because whenever I'm stressed out, it's harder to close a sale. It's harder to make money. But if I'm happy and peaceful, like it just comes to me. So just remembering that, number one, you need to be peaceful and happy if you want to make your life easier. And it's not all about will. I have a lot of willpower, but it's not all about will. So just learning that, there has to be a balance between your willpower and self-care and balance, and not taking it personally. That's what I learned.
You've said, of course, that, right now you plan to expand, but right now the focus is on entrepreneur startups in the US. And you've also said that there's no limit to the type of industry. There's no restriction, but kind of give us a sense of the profile of the woman. Like, is there a particular profile of the woman that would more likely than not access funding through Enrich Her?
In terms of who's applied, we've had companies that had IT consulting companies, accounting. We've had technology, bakery, food companies in the food industry. So the real thing is not about industry. We focus on, can you repay the loan? So what are your cash flows? So as long as you have enough money to pay us back, we'll be good to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Any final thoughts before we close? Get your contact information and you share whatever giveaway that you have. Any final thoughts coming from you?
I just say, like, you are enough and you're worth it. So whenever times, get hard, just remember that.
You are enough. That is enough for us.
Yes.
All right. Tell us how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so you can go directly to our website at IEnrichher.com. So that's IENRICHHER.com. And you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter at IEnrichher. So right on our website, you can apply directly for the loans. We also have over 300 different opportunities for grants, fellowships, pitch competitions that are international. So just check us out.
Absolutely. Okay, so those are international. You have other stuff that are not just the loan, but you also have like the pitch competitions perhaps, or the grant. Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's great. All right. So thank you, Roshwanna. I have been talking with Dr. Roshwanna Novellus, and what a great time we've had. She is the founder and the CEO of Enrich Her, of course, a financial technology platform that's fueling the growth of women-led businesses, and more support for the women. When we can get that, we say, yay, more power. So thank you so much, Roshwanna.
Thank you so much.
It has been my pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to this episode with Dr. Roshwanna Novellus. I look forward to connecting with you next week. As you know, it does take work to produce one 30-minute podcast episode, which is really a joy for me. Perhaps you're wondering if you could contribute to this work, and the answer is yes, a resounding yes. For as little as $2 per month, you can make a contribution to go a far way. So go to patreon.com/TEY. So that's patreon.com/TEY. There are perks awaiting you right there. Thank you so much. Thanks. Remember, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. What good?